So the Atlanta Falcons are coming off of a very, very disappointing loss, 19-13 against the Carolina Panthers, a loss that could be classified as pretty much embarrassing. It was absolutely terrible to watch. I don't even want to go over it, to be honest with you guys. However, you have to. Atlanta has to get better, and of course, throughout the past 3 weeks, they had looked really, really good. They looked well improved, and this seemed like a huge step back. There's a lot of news to go over, so I'm going to get you guys right into the video. But of course, I want to remind you to make sure to like and subscribe, turn that notification bell, help me out a little bit. And without further ado, I want to get right into this video. Now, of course, the Atlanta Falcons offense had a really, really tough game. They only managed to gain 146 passing yards and just over 80 rushing yards and score only 13 points. The Atlanta offense was straight up terrible during this game against the Carolina Panthers. And while the Panthers, and I'm going to get more into this later, the Panthers are one of the best defenses in the NFL, it's still really, really hard for me to imagine the Atlanta Falcons only scoring 13 points. Now, of course, you're going to ask next, how and why? What happened for the Atlanta Falcons offense to get totally locked up, especially after the last 3-4 weeks? They've been really, really good on the offensive side of the ball. Well, Kyle Pitts was heavily involved in the past 2 weeks, of course. However, he was absolutely contained this game. The guy was contained for 2 catches for 13 yards on 6 targets, and he also had a drop this game. Kyle Pitts had a really, really rough game. It was a rough time for really any rookie in the NFL to not only adjust to being in the NFL, of course, but also adjust to seeing double teams, seeing everybody on you. And of course, with Calvin Ridley out, another subject that I'm going to get to a little bit later in this video, it was really, really, really hard for Kyle Pitts. You could tell it was hard for Kyle Pitts to get open. It was hard for him to maneuver around those double teams. And can you really blame the guy? I mean, he is a rookie in the NFL. He is somebody who's still obviously trying to figure out his way on the Atlanta Falcons team, so you can't really blame him. However, he was absolutely contained by the Carolina Panthers. You have to get the Panthers credit for that one. Now, Matt Ryan had one of his worst games of maybe his career, but definitely the worst game of the season by far. And after passing nearly perfectly in the last 3 games, this game against the Panthers, he only managed to go 20 for 27 for 146 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Very, very, once again, disappointing. Matt Ryan, now, of course, he has had a great season, so I'll cut him some slack. I mean, the Panthers are pretty much the #1 defense in the entire NFL when it comes to points. If I'm stand corrected, they're actually probably behind a little bit, behind one of those teams, maybe the Chargers, somebody like that, a very good defense. However, the Carolina Panthers are really, really good on defense, but Matt Ryan, he has to play better if the Atlanta Falcons want to win against these best teams in the NFL status. Now, of course, the Panthers are of that status, and that's exactly what has me worried about Matt Ryan. Going to get more into this later. However, going next to the Atlanta Falcons rushing game, Cordell Patterson, while he did score 1 touchdown, he also had a very, very tough game. He only ran for 37 yards, and he was actually second in rushing on the team behind running back Mike Davis, who ran for only 44 total yards. Now, getting into the Calvin Ridley situation. Man, oh man, is this going to be interesting. Now, Calvin Ridley, he announced on his Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, all of his social media platforms, that he's going to take a step back from the game to focus on his mental health. Now, this is no shade on Calvin Ridley. We want to pray for Calvin Ridley. We want to make sure that he is going to be great. He's not going to be out for an extended period of time, hopefully. Hopefully, he can get his mindset back together and get back on the football field. That's all I have to say about Calvin Ridley. He's a very talented player, super talented, but when your mind's not in the game, it's really, really hard to focus, and I don't blame Calvin Ridley for taking a mental break. I hope he gets well soon, and I hope he can get back on that football field as soon as possible, and not only for us fans to enjoy him, but for him to enjoy himself on the field. Ultimately, I wish all good for Calvin Ridley and his little mental situation. Now, going back to football, next is the Atlanta Falcons offensive line, which played very, very terrible. They were bad. The Atlanta Falcons offensive line gave up 3 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. Now, of course, I am aware once again that the Panthers are one of the best statistical defenses in the NFL. However, this is not acceptable. As I said in my NFL preseason video, a video that's probably going to pop up somewhere on top of the screen throughout the course of this video, I said that the Atlanta Falcons offensive line is going to have to get fixed. I'm not going to say that they haven't played great this year. They haven't played good. I'm not going to say that. However, it's been far from perfect. 3 sacks and 5 tackles for loss is not something that you want to give up in the NFL, no matter what the defense is you're going against. I said the Atlanta Falcons offensive line has to get better, and until then, I personally feel like that you can't go anywhere if you're the Atlanta Falcons, if your offensive line is not going to block for you, not going to get time for Matt Ryan. The offensive line was actually a huge point on why Matt Ryan probably had a bad game. He didn't have a lot of protection, and I don't care how good or how mobile of a quarterback you are, when you don't have protection, it gets 10 times harder for you. And I'm not going to blame the offensive line. I'm not going to put all the blame on them. Now, of course, Atlanta Falcons, they could have played better as an entire team. However, the O-line is definitely a huge part of the team that has to get better. Now, just to maybe pour a little bit of salt in the wound, which I kind of don't mean to do, but I mean, let's face it. It can't get any worse at this point for an Atlanta Falcons fan. Younghoe Koo missed his first kick of the entire year against the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, that's not a great sign at all. Now, of course, Younghoe Koo came into this game. He was perfect on kicks for the entire season, perfect from 40+ for, I believe, his entire career, if not the entire season. Yeah, he missed his first 40+ yard kick. That is an absolute buzzkill if you're the Atlanta Falcons, and it really played a huge role when it came to the momentum shifting during the game. Man, it was tough. It was really tough out there. The entire team just looked completely out of rhythm. Nothing really amounted for the Atlanta Falcons throughout the whole game. They would score, then go 10 straight drives, seemingly, with no offense and nothing whatsoever. So things never really clicked in this game for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, speaking of clicking, we have to go to the defense. Now, I'm going to start off with the good news. I'm going to calm you Atlanta Falcons fans down with some of the bad news. I'm going to give you guys some good news now. Now, of course, Deion Jones and Foyesade Oluokun both played really great games. They both combined for 30+ tackles alone, which is absolutely insane. I want to say one of them had 16 tackles and the other one had 14 tackles. Man, both of those guys are absolutely ridiculous. Those are 2 of the best linebackers in the entire league, or at least 2 of the most underrated linebackers in the entire league, in my opinion. Man, the Atlanta Falcons defense, as far as the linebacking core goes, it's one of the best in the league, in my opinion, and you can always debate me on that in the comments. However, man, Deion Jones and Foyesade Oluokun are both not recognized enough for what they do. They combined for 30 tackles on Sunday. It was an amazing outing for both of them. Now, for the rest. The rest is not probably what you want to hear. However, again, the Atlanta Falcons defense, they played pretty terrible. They only compiled a grand total of 3 tackles for loss and 0 sacks against a seemingly depleted Panthers offensive line. And of course, they allowed 203 total rushing yards. And the Panthers did not even have Christian McCaffrey, their star running back. Yeah. Things were that bad. The Atlanta Falcons allowed 200 rushing yards on the ground. Well, actually more than 200 rushing yards on the ground. And the Panthers did not even have their number 1 running back. Now, of course, going to the next point, the defense also did not help us out by allowing over, or at least near, 20 points and forcing 0 turnovers against the Panthers, which are ranked 22nd in scoring offense in the entire NFL. The defense has to do better. Now, of course, it's an NFL team. They're going to score, but the 22nd ranked scoring offense, you didn't get a single sack. You only managed to get 3 tackles for loss. You're going to need some better effort out of your defense if you want the Atlanta Falcons to really be one of those better and more premier teams in the entire league. Now, of course, the offense didn't play too hot. That was a point that I got to earlier. However, the defense, they're definitely going to have to step it up in the next couple of weeks. Now, going back to the good news, Eric Harris had a huge hit on Robbie Anderson during that Carolina Panthers game. I might play it back here. Of course, copyright claims may sort of limit that standard. However, I'm going to try and get it for you guys. It was a huge clip. You can always go look at it in the highlights. Look up Eric Harris hit and it'll be right there. It'll be a link or something in here. I'll have something in here for you. However, Eric Harris laid an absolute boomstick on Sunday that Atlanta Falcons fans will probably be a little bit happy about. Hey, you know the team has a little bit of hope when a guy can make a huge hit across the middle. No, this was not a dirty hit, by the way. This was an absolutely clean hit. It was just a big hit. Might get you hyped up or something. However, going to the next point, the next couple of weeks. This is really disappointing considering the performance Atlanta has had. And after they had a really good performance in the last 2 weeks. Now, of course, the Atlanta Falcons still have a lot of big games coming up. And the next game is a divisional game. It is against the New Orleans Saints. You need to win this game if you're the Atlanta Falcons. If you want to stay inside of the playoff and division contention conversation, you're going to have to win this game. The New Orleans Saints are down seemingly 2 quarterbacks as of right now. Michael Thomas Thomas has shown no signs of coming back. Alvin Kamara has a little bit struggled this season. Of course, they just got Mark Ingram back to their offense. So the Saints are going to be a little bit confused and depleted. And I think the Atlanta Falcons can really take advantage of this sort of newish built Saints team, since, of course, their starting quarterback in Jameis Winston is going to be out for the rest of the season with an ACL tear. Now, Atlanta needs to improve all around. They have to improve. The New Orleans Saints are no slouch. They are an amazing team. They just came off beating arguably the best team in the entire NFL in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to need to play way better than you did against the Panthers if Atlanta wants a chance to win this game. Now, excuse me. Hopefully, the Atlanta Falcons can get things back going. Hopefully, Matt Ryan can get these things back together. Now, of course, the Falcons are now 3-4, which is not ideal, but it's still a young season. It's only, 9 weeks in, I want to say. It's going to be 9 weeks next week. It's only like half the season. Like, come on. We don't need to panic. Half the season has only passed. We have a lot of time to go. The Atlanta Falcons have 10+ games to go, actually. So, no need to panic, Atlanta fans. We are going to do it. We're going to get it. And eventually, I believe the Atlanta Falcons could possibly be one of the better teams in the NFL if they get things together. We still have half the season left. So, Atlanta fans, do not worry. Put a smile on your face just like me. And hope for the best that the Atlanta Braves can, of course, going off topic a little bit, win the World Series. And the Atlanta Falcons can be really good going into these last couple of weeks. Now, of course, that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Links in the description. Of course, TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, all those links are going to be in the description. And whether you follow them or not, I want to wish from me to you that you stay loved and stay blessed. And without further ado, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.
Man, the lack finesse. Wanna be rappers brag about already being the best. I respect many people for the job they've done. Haters full of jealousy is what I like especially. I like a lot of funky man, the lack